Rocket Racing presents Show Us Your Tips September 4th preview by the time we get there. Moonee Valley, it's Feehan Stakes Day at Moonee Valley, as well as some good racing at Randwick, Beaver and Daggy with you. As always, on a Thursday evening, Beaver, what's going on in lockdown land?
Mate, just the normal stuff, doing the normal work stuff, helping around the house and trying to get out when I can and do a bit of exercise with the young blokes.
Very good, I suppose. That's all we can do, as we were saying off air. Play
All we
again.
can do, mate.
At least they're good enough to let us have a bet on a Saturday. So a little bit of footy,
That's
a little
exactly right.
bit of racing to
Something
keep
to
us
look forward to, mate.
Exactly. Midweek. Any takeaways from the midweek stuff?
I think the track seemed to play quite fair at Sandown. It was certainly much better. Just got nabbed in a couple we did. The real deal, looked like I was home, got nabbed in the last bound. And I think we got a few winners outside of that. It wasn't too bad a day overall.
Big price, blue colours fresh there, flexible, I mentioned.
Flexible, that's right. That's what I was trying to think of. We were both
we both had a bit
keen
of
on it.
Interest in that. And apart from that, I guess it played pretty fair. I thought Kenzo was still a little bit fence-ish. I think all the winners are pretty much on the fence, but we found enough there to, at least I've still got a bank for tomorrow, for Saturday, which is good. So
my best bet got up in the first and snuck home there, which I thought wasn't a bad run, given that it did have to come down the middle of the track and the thing early on. I was
excited by the price. End up getting out to about, I think I got about 360-ish.
60, yeah.
So
and we're pretty spot on the mark in the last. Oh please Diana, my roughie of the day, just didn't quite get there, but was a nice run. And if you took the each way, you would have been happy.
And I mentioned Misty Orr as the one to, I think, my value for the day, actually. So yeah, there it was.
Yes.
Productive day. We found enough out of it, as I said, and a couple of nice winners for you up in Queensland, as always. Leadership Spill did it pretty comfy, and that held on, didn't it? Yeah, there was one that got nabbed, I think.
No, copy.
Did get nabbed.
Leadership Spill got nabbed. Yeah.
Sorry, I think I went the early crow. It looked like
you did again, even after it's over.
My fault again. Standard. Should learn by now.
Yes, yeah, I think you probably might have. And it looked halfway down the straight, and then something jumped out the ground. The thing in the first that we tipped was short price, but won. Just trying to think what else we tipped up in Brizzy. Can't remember now. Not important. Let's get on to the weekend.
Yeah, let's look forward now. As we've said, it is Brogat Racing. You've listened to us waffle for 3 minutes and 16 seconds, but we are here twice a week if it's your first time, midweek and weekend previews. On behalf of Brogat Racing, check them out for their free tips and extensive guides. In general, you'll get our Melbourne set or Melbourne tips and Sydney set, and during carnival time we look all around Australia, and of course the King of the North up there, he picks the eyes out of Queensland each and every week, and does quite well at it. So we'll get into Moonee Valley, where the feature Group 2 Feehan Stakes headlines, but we kick off with a 1,500 metre benchmark. What have we got? A 3-year-old 1,500 metre race, I should say, over with a whole bunch of different form lines, predominantly midweek stuff. What are you doing to start the day here?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the favourite, Sandy Prince. I liked it last start and it won quite nicely. I think everything sets up again here for it to be on pace, if not the pace. And gate 4, Craig Williams aboard. Looks a good setup for this, and looks a horse that's just going to keep ticking through the grades. I like Sandy Prince and think it'll be winning the first.
Very good. I didn't mention there is some rain on the way at Moonee Valley. The rail is in the true. So if it is heavy, I think most of the rain's tomorrow, so we'll know where it's at. I'm thinking it probably gets to a softish track. So we'll watch for any bias, but if anything, it's probably going to be towards a rail, which does suit Sandy Prince. I'm with you there. A very impressive last start. And we'll have pace and map advantages here. And I think we can kick off by backing it. Don't have much more to add, actually. Same colours lead the way in the second.
Yeah. No, it beats Sea-Line.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say it beats Sea-Line last start quite comfortably. Sea Lion was stepping up quite substantially in distance, but still looks like it has the edge on it at this stage, I would have thought.
Well, I thought if you're not look, I thought you looked to the Flemington race apart from that, which would be Sunfall
Yep.
and Forgot You. Sunfall, I can back. I think it's around $8. If I was going to have a save, it'd probably be Sunfall. But we'll get, if anything, it's going to give us an indication of how the track's playing throughout the afternoon. The second is the mile benchmark 78, where we have another bonanza here. What are you doing in the second?
Yeah, pretty open race here, but this is mostly midweek company coming to Moonee Valley here on the Saturday. Look, if you look outside Mr. Brightside, which I think it's hard to do, it's just flying at the moment and just looks, again, set up to give Williams the first two on the card. Worsfold, Chief Altony, Nick Spur, they all kind of went around against it, going around against each other. Worsfold was a really good run last start. It wasn't suited, got back, run on well. Chief Altony just put a line through its last run. But from gate 16 here, I just think needs too much to go its way. So I can't back it. Nick Spur was a good win last start, but it probably had everything set up for it to win. I just think, Mr. Brightside just looks a very hard to beat horse here and probably get all the favours.
I agree. Yeah, same connections as the first, but it'll be almost the same result. A roll forward, take a position, and be very hard to beat. There's a lot of numbers here. Chief Altony from that draw, you're going to get the standard Chief Altony. Nick Spur's impressive. Probably goes back as well here though, and it's going to give him a start. I thought if there's a danger, it'll be the Alcyone who resumed with the lead, and that was the one I was actually trying to think of. I was trying to think of on Wednesday night. At a price that we missed. But yeah, inside gate, Damien Oliver's probably close enough and might have, now it's gelded, might have a bit of upside on a lot of these. So I was thinking, Mr. Brightside to continue its very impressive midweek stuff to Saturday grade from Alcyone. Race number 3 is the Colts and Geldings, 1,200 metres. For the 3-year-olds, what are you doing here with some of these lightly raced ones?
Yeah, it's an interesting race, this one. A few horses here that have got some okay form. I went away from Generation. I thought its first up run was pretty good, but it's drawn wide again, so it's going to have to do a bit of work, and it's got Huesca underneath it. So I'm actually going Huesca. I'm going for Williams again. I think he's going to have a really good day, and the reason is I think it'll go forward. It's sat quite wide its only start and still won quite impressively. Trialled, I thought, very well against older horses at Randwick. I think it beat Madam Legend in a nice trial and looked to be doing it quite easy. And then prior to its first up win, had nice barrier trials back in sort of the May period. I think it might have a little bit of ability, and not often I want to go for a Waterhouse horse, but in this race, that's where I've landed.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I like the price. I like the fact it's drawn from gate 10, but you're going to get there, so it's going to jot straight across here. I thought Generation was shown up a bit, and I think a lot of that generation of 3-year-olds has been shown up. So the fresh blood here, a nice enough win. There's some form through that race. It stood up, and the trial was good again. It's not here for its usual thing. When Gay sends them down, they're here for a reason. I imagine probably heading towards a Caulfield Guineas or something in her mind. But yeah, I think the $10 is a great bet. And if I was going to find one at odds, it might be the Sydney form as well with Brigantine. The blue colours, it's 20s. The big win first up, and maybe a little bit disappointing second up in a Tiger of Malay race. But Coast Watch has come out and franked that form. And I think this might even be a weaker race than a lot of that top Sydney stuff. So at the 20s and the 10s, I'm happy to back the 2 Sydney horses. It's generally a recipe for success for us.
Yep.
Race number 4 is the 2,040 metre handicap, where we see a lot of our old friends here, a few coming through that red hot pace in the Pancho race, which was run at a crazy tempo. So we'll see what some of them still have left. Harder Passance, you've been on for a bit and it's finally turned up here, hopefully, and De Graves a bit of a forgive. What do you make of it all?
Yeah, it's interesting race, and your horse Cool showed a bit more of a return to form last start, but again, I thought it probably didn't want to go past and win. Unfortunately, last start. Look, I'm willing to back up again on De Graves. I was on it last start, and around the bend, I thought, oh, beauty, I'm in the queue here. This is going good, and it just seemed to peter out on its run. Not quite sure if just that break, that 2.5 month break, took its toll, and it just ran out of petrol there, and it did do all the chasing in that race. So I'm expecting that to be a bit hard and fit third up. Gets 3 kilo claim, so it's only got a lightweight 51 kilos on its back. It's drawn 6. I think they probably won't go as hard in that race, and they won't have to chase as hard. So I think they might go along, and it might be a bit more of a sit and sprint affair than what we saw last time. And I think that'll play into De Graves' favour. Very hard to beat. Pancho was good last start. Brought it Sydney form. It's going good at the moment. So another big show for Craig Williams there. But yeah, I've got De Graves on top.
Yeah, I end up putting Coulth on top. I thought that was what I wanted to see last time. I think out to 2000 now. It suits third up. Drawn well here. I feel like, it does need to get clear early, though. It's one of those horses. It looks like it takes 200 metres to wind up. So maybe, and it's funny because it spent a lot of time. It feels like it spent a lot of time at the Valley, but maybe not its track. But yeah, I was sort of looking towards that around the $6 mark. And yeah, I can forgive De Graves, as you've said, in a tricky race. I want to see Pancho again, given how hot that speed was, and see what's actually left of a lot of those horses out of it. So it has. I think its 2 best wins have been off really hot paces, and I don't know if it's necessarily going to get that here because there's not the crazy speed. I think De Graves probably rolls forward itself, and maybe something like Salsamore, but there's not a lot of other speed here, really. Le Don de Ville probably tends to roll forward as well, actually, first up. So I think it's a different race shape, and that's where I think, De Graves comes back into it and cool. The 1,000-meter Group 2 weight for age McEwen Stakes is race number 5. Before we get into some of the group stuff, Beaver, I was just thinking, with the jockey suspensions last week, are there any jockeys you're particularly looking for now that Jamie Carr's not there? Ben Mellum, obviously, Mark Zara, 3 of the best.
No, look, not specifically. Am I going looking for jockeys? But I certainly am when I'm looking for the horses that I like. Looking for what jockeys are aboard, particularly depending on what barrier they're drawn. They're going to need some of these horses against other good horses. They need to be able to get a decent luck in running, and when they're drawn wide and need that, you've got to have a top jock on board, and you've got to sort of hope that they can get them in the right spot. If they don't quite have that, then that's a little bit of a worry. So you've got to kind of balance, when you get the apprentices and not as strong a jockeys, of where they may sit and if they can still get home under that condition.
Yeah, well, just earlier, a couple of ones you mentioned from the wider gates, like Sir Jai McNeil, and that you sort of, and no knock on Jai, very, very capable jockey, but you sort of have to do a second take than you might if it was someone else. You'd have potentially a bit more, I don't know if faith's the right word, but a little bit of a better rapport with, I suppose, knowing what you get. And it's an interesting spring down south because it looks like the Sydney jockeys are all going to be grounded. Usually Hugh and Nash turn up halfway through, and J-Mac, but looks like they're all going to spend a lot of their time, obviously, in Sydney with COVID. So, yeah, I think your Williams, Olivers are your go-tos, and then after that, you're looking towards your Damien Lanes.
Lanes, yeah.
So they're probably your top 3. Brett Preble's got a new lease on life, moving back to Melbourne, riding fantastic. So I guess they're your new big 4 for at least the time being.
Yeah, and then you just got to play around with the others based on the quality of the cattle and where they're drawn, I think.
Yeah, but it does make all of spring very interesting, I suppose. But back to our 1,000-meter Group 2. I don't know what to do with September Run. I think I'm probably going to take it on here. It wasn't great last prep. The trial was hard to get a line on because it was just chugging along trying to chase Nature Strip. So I don't know if you can take much out of that. And Portland Sky is going to bounce straight on pace from that gate and be in front for a very long way. So I was probably slightly leaning that way. And as I seem to do, Wisdom of Water, I managed to find again a very quiet trial. It now pops up in another weird race. But it's got to win something at some point. But now it's had its full prep with Annabelle Neesham. She seems to be able to do good things with horses. So I had a couple of looks at it, but for me, Portland Sky on top. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I went for Portland Sky as well. I think it's a very good bet in this race. As you said, it's going to probably shoot out, jump on the bunny, and probably just be too nippy for these over the 1,000 metres. Pretty good in the Oakley Plate, and yeah, look, its form before going out to a spell was outstanding. Everything sets up right for it here. September Run. Not sure if the Valley's its perfect track. We'll see here, but the Portland Sky just might be a bit too nippy over the 1,000 here.
Maybe we've just got to September's just got to go back to that up the straight where it blew those couple of fields away. Maybe we wait for that there.
Yeah, look, it was disappointing last prep, and I'd need to see it again, do something before that.
Yep, fair enough. The 3-year-old fillies listed Atlantic Jewel kicks off the quaddie over the 1,200 metres, where I'll put the impressive debut winner Argentia on top. I like the way it chimed in once it hit. It took a few strides to hit top gear. Once it did, it ran away quite well and looked quite impressive. So on top for me, Oliver on, drawn well. Probably has a lot in its favour. And Scorched Earth, I mentioned, resuming in the Gimme Par race. I think the market's in this order anyway. It will be rolling on pace there and give you a good sight if you're looking for something else. They're the main two for me here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, look, Argentia looks to be a top quality horse. I found it first up, and I'm super impressed by the run. I think it was about $7 or $8. When I backed it in its first run, they put it out. So bringing it back here looks hard to beat again. Perfect draw, and the fact that Ollie's on, given what we've just spoken about, points you into that sort of way of thinking. The two that I thought were the main dangers was Zuzarella. Thought it was good for first up. Also from the Freedman stable, so I wouldn't be surprised if they ran 1-2 here. And Mac and Cheese. I thought it was really impressive last start. And I could see it running in a hole as well. So Argentia to me, and then Zuzarella and Mac and Cheese as the main two dangers.
Yeah, it's been good. Been good in its early prep, Mac and Cheese. So good luck to the numerous connections there. Race number 7 is the newly named Chautauqua Stakes over the 1,200 metre, a listed race. And what a race to name after Chautauqua with this collection. We see some of the form coming through the infamous $100,000 Mariah race here and a few others from all over the place. How do you line them all up?
With a lot of difficulty.
Yeah.
Again, this is a perfect example of what we talked about here with some of the main horses here, Away Game and Pintoff, who I had a real liking for, drawn 18 and 19. So what does that mean? I guess 15 Ancestry is going to come out humming and come across and try and lead. Does that mean Pintoff sort of sits on the outside and tries to sit on the outside of it and probably get in a death there?
It's a recipe for disaster at Moonee Valley, trying to get across on any hot pace there. Pace inside as well.
But Ancestry might just go that quick and
drag it out enough.
And Pintoff followed across.
Yeah.
But Away Game, I just can't see where Away Game's going to get in the run, to be honest, and how it gets in from there. So it's going to have to work super hard. Some of the other horses, not so sure about. Does it just set it up for Bella Nipotina from the inside gate?
Maybe.
And that's the kind of way I was just leaning towards. I thought so. Based on that, I thought just Bella Nipotina, just on the fact that Williams is aboard again, another Williams horse. He's just got a great book of rides. I might just get to sit behind the hot speed and be too strong in the end. While Planet can finish off its races, so it's not without a chance. Gate 10, it could find some luck in running. That's the way I was sort of looking, and even a horse like Front Page, it could certainly improve off its first up run behind Corner Pocket if it gets the right run in transit. But yeah, I just purely went on Bella Nipotina based off how I thought the race might play out.
Only because it goes forward, I can probably entertain Bella, but I've had a bit of a rule of not backing Craig Williams from gate 1 at Moonee Valley. But with all that pace outside, I think Away Game can probably find cover. I think Pintoff's going to want to be in front of it, and it can probably find a suck in the running line somewhere. Track pattern's going to play a big thing too, because if it's real swoopers, then it could probably afford to lob back and bide its time at the back of the field as well. I end up finding Wild
I was
Planet.
just worried when it did go back, when it does go back. So, if Ancestry comes across and Pintoff's there, where's Away Gear going to sit? Maybe if Pintoff goes hard enough, it can get on the back and just pop in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, jockey intent's a big thing there. And Pintoff's, I think Pintoff's going to push forward, and that hopefully gives.
Has to.
That's right. So hopefully then Away Game can drag along with it, and find some cover and leave Pintoff stranded. But you're probably right about Bella. And I think Ancestry is not with us anymore. I don't think we need to worry about it. It was disappointing last start. So I end up with Wild Planet. You mentioned it, but first up, last prep in Queensland, Nelly nabbed Eduardo, who'd be $1.80 in this race, and has some pretty good runs to its name fresh, blending gait, and I just thought it was a bit of different form from that lead up race, which I didn't. Yeah, just looked for different form. I got confused and went away from it. And I did think Away Game was probably the run of that Pintoff race, so that's why I was willing to entertain it there. But I'd want to see swoopers, because I think it's probably going to be 3 wide running line, so that'll need to be advantageous on the day. But I couldn't really find anyone else. The only other one I had 2 looks at actually, which is 30s, which will probably go on my quaddy, is Karma Lass, who I found off the trials in Sydney last prep, the Kiwi horse. Found off the trials in Sydney, did nothing in the one run it had, but it's back. So there's 2 things: either it must have some talent, or it's just here to keep proverbial company on the flight over. So it's either one or the other. But at 30s, I'll in a race I'm not going to have massive bets in. I might have something on that there. The Feehan Stakes is the feature, the Group 2 over the mile. We see a lot of. Well, actually, I thought this was a pretty simple race. The more I thought about it, I think Elephant might be a good horse. I found it first up. It goes out to a mile. I think this is an average, a pretty ordinary rendition of the Feehan. There's no, there's no cleaners, and there's no Faulkners and all those sort of horses that were competitive in it over the years. This is a average race of out of form stayers, and I think fresh blood here. It's unbeaten. Gate 1's probably going to be it roll forward, probably leaders back. It needs even luck to run really well, and I think the only danger is probably Sierra Sue. And I don't have much more to say about the race. Superstorm was okay first up, but I think Elephant might be onto some decent stuff.
Yeah, I think the same. Can't believe it's $5, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, for all the same reasons as you, I think that the probably reason it's paying that is because it's stepping up to weight for age here. And that might be the reason that you can get the $5 odd. But love the way it won first up. If it's improved off the back of that, geez, it's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, the way it won, it felt like similar to watching Probabil win, just that class above cruise through and went through its gears and clear air and run away.
Yep.
Yeah, easy bet to have, and we probably don't need to say much more, do we?
No.
let's move on then and wrap the day up with another mile handicap. How are you finishing off here?
Oh, yeah, this was tough. I found this race really tough. I sort of went through and then come back and went through and then come back. I just basically couldn't get too excited about anything. So I went for the top weight, Cormorant from the Hickmont stable. So the overseas horse. Just thought there wasn't even much trial form to go from, but had some more at form over in GB and in Ireland in some open class races. Carries weight all right. Look, just specking off the back of that. Thought it could be hard to beat. Purely couldn't find anything else that really took my liking.
Yeah, easier to throw in a quarter again. It's one of those ones you just don't know what you're going to get, and we generally do just that with these colours. My default was I can trust High Stranger. I know what I'm going to get. It's going to run honestly again. Josh Richards is fine. It's going to be close enough to on pace, and something's going to have to beat it. If nothing else, it's going to be the one putting in and be honest at the end. And each way, I think it does miss a place. I don't know what it is. I just don't trust Skyman. That it might be in my head.
Yeah, me too.
It's just not a horse I can seem to have a big affiliation with. And yeah, these scary Hickmont horses are, you just go in your quarter, and if they win, you go, okay, cool. And at that price, actually, you probably almost back it. I don't know how helpful we've been in the last there, but what's your best of the day for progretracing.com.au on Feehan Stakes Day?
Yeah, my best of the day comes up in race 8, number 11, Elephant. I thought it'd be really hard to beat. And my value bet of the day comes up in race 3, number 10, Huesca, at the $10 mark.
That's very scary, Beaver, because I've got exactly the same. So give him strength.
We didn't collaborate.
We have not spoken all day. So yeah, Elephant, I think, is a great bet at $5, and I think Huesca is a great bet at $10. Away from that, I think the best two, if you just wanted something for the day, probably the two favourites in the early on in a day, if the track's playing fair enough. But
yeah, I would have. I was very close to making Portland Sky my best, but I just went for Elephant there.
Good to see it rubbing off there, Beaver. So all sorted for Moonee Valley as we head for progretracing.com.au. Check them out for their free tips and extensive guides to Randwick, where the rail is in the 4 metre mark. They're saying soft, but the track will be good on the day. Potentially very dry, but apparently some rain coming throughout the afternoon, so keep an eye on that. Which sort of means it probably could even end up slightly on pace again, which seems to be the flavour of Sydney at the moment. We kick off with the Highway Handicap, first of 10. I didn't even bother looking at this race, did you?
No, I didn't have it. Nothing jumped out, so I just moved on.
Very good. The second, the Vale Nini Vascotto, 1,100 metres. Obviously, our condolences to Muzz and the family of Nini on the sad loss. She was a tremendous person and tremendous battler and touched a lot of people. So as Murray knows, he's got a lot of friends in the Penrith area, and all of their thoughts would be with him. So not just in the Penrith area, obviously, but fantastic human being and thinking of you, Muzz. But let's get to what we're going to actually back in the 1,100 metre 78. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I've gone for Nags to Riches. I didn't think its last run was all that bad. It was only a couple of lengths off more profits. Was in the market. Probably got too far back out of its ground, but finished off well enough. Gets a 2 kilo claim here for Tom Sherry, so it comes in at the 55 mark. I think this is a stronger race as the last race it's contested in. So drawn 6, just as long as it doesn't get too far out of its ground again, can be finishing over the top here. And as long as there's there's a bit of opportunity there for horses running on.
I'm going to stump up on Florage again. I have been ever since its first up run. It's been 3 weeks between runs, but now trialled since. Just stuck outside lead first up, busted after the long spell. and I think can run well here, and it's been backed every time it's been in. So obviously some people agree. And was saved from last week, I think, because they figured Andermatt would win, which it duly did. Happy to back it here. Yeah, I thought Nags to Riches overperformed last race in a race I gave it no chance in. And Shake, I didn't know what to make of because I don't think it's trialled, and I wasn't quite sure if it's still a horse. It was a bit ordinary its last couple of runs. So, but on Flyage for me around a $7.50 with the way I'll play the race. In short, I won't ramble on as I tend to do. Let's get to the 1800 meter midway over, which is a benchmark 72. What have you done here?
Yeah, this was another quite difficult race here, and really hard to get a line on what to do here. We know Bazooka's going to go back to the tail, I guess, from gate 17, so that makes it probably quite tricky to back based on that. Casino Mondial's been well and going well consistently back out to the 1800 here. Got a bit of a claim, so I've got that well in the market. I just went for tampering. Jason Collett aboard. It's had two really strong wins. Fought really hard to the line last start, so it's sort of gradually stepping up in distance. Start before that, beat Always Sure, the favourite, in a bit of a slog and go. It gets out now to the 1800s, so I think it's probably more to the liking that this distance. Probably hardest to beat here at a nice little price.
I end up finding the same horse. It's going to lead. It's going to, what you're going to get. It is up to 18, which is the only slight concern. But
yeah, it's got some form over longer distance.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pace here. So it's got the setup from a couple of weeks back, and I think it's around a 750, an easy bet to have. Always Sure did chime in and win well last race, but I'm not actually sure what that race is given. Yeah, so I'm not sure what to do with that horse. That was a question out there. So, and I'll probably end up having something on Bazooka because I'm slightly mad and have issues. So tampering on top from Bazooka and Casino Mondial, in short. But I think if anything, Bazooka's win at Hawkesbury was average enough for me to never have to worry about again as a horse in town. But anyway, but winning by a pimple in a terrible race. The 1300 meter benchmark 72 is race number 4. And, another very tricky race. I end up finding here the two Waller horses, Hoover Lucy, off some okay stuff up in Queensland where it rode the pace quite well. Had the spell up there, won a trial up there as well, has now come back down. It's been a recipe for success at the midweeks all through the last few months and is around the $9 or $10 mark. The only concern with Kathy there is if there's a lot of intent from the stable first up, but that from Starman, who I still think was a pretty decent win on debut at Kenzo. Both of them are backable at 7s, and Super Efforts Flying was a fantastic win last time for us. And you can probably get to a stage where it's $7 a field. I can find a way to stake all of them. But whether or not that's a good prospect, do you think so, Beaver?
Yeah, look, I mean, the market's pretty open and pretty fair. It's, there's no really standout favourite in this race. I just stuck with Super Effort purely on the basis of the 3 runs in this prep. They've all been very good. I suspect it'll also finish in the running here. So I like Super Effort. The other horse I'm keen to see how it goes is High Supremacy with Huey Bowman aboard resuming here. 1300, it's probably going to want a little bit further than that as it gets into its preparation. But if there's any chinks in the armour and it's forward enough, first up, it could sprint well fresh.
Yeah, cool. Tricky race. Good, interesting start to the first half of the program. Now we get into the second half where I think it's a matter of, I guess, if you want to back the favourite or not for the rest of the day. So kicks off with the Group 3 Concord over the 1,000 where Nature Strip returns. doing Nature Strip stuff off Nature Strip trials. Do you want to take Nature Strip $1.50?
I'm not going to back anything to beat it.
That's
Whether I'll back it to win $1.50, I think I've probably had Nature Strip before at some shorties and got rolled. So, yeah, look, I just can't see anything here beating it when it has got rolled. I think it's the horses have had
when
probably...
it's been rolled, it's been a Red Zell or a G-Tra
Yes.
or something like that. And I think this is the first time it's resumed without, or an Eduardo, this is the first time it's resumed without a lot of pressure and without much opposition.
Yeah, I think that's right. So, I just can't see too many horses giving it a run here. Thought if you wanted to throw a bit of value into the Quinella, you might throw an Adelon.
Yeah, maybe they'll both roll along on pace and go around and run 1-2. Adelong might be the only fly in the ointment because it'll be the only one wanting to go forward, but it's not going to cross Nature Strip.
Even if it does, Nature Strip will just sit on its tail and blow past.
Yeah. We've seen Nature Strip when it resumes, though, it does drift. So you might get, I think the last few times it's resumed, you get it to $1.80, $1.90. It's good beaten, it hasn't helped, but I'd probably back it at $1.90 in this race.
In this field, 100%.
So we'll see where the market ends up. It could jump $1.20 and I'll watch it and life will go on without me. But good to see it back, I guess. Does it win the Everest again, or is there any of the new blood that interests you towards an Everest, or you have given that zero thought?
Oh, I haven't given it a lot of thought at the moment, mate. I want to see how Nature Strip comes back and, what the field would line up like.
Yeah.
But at this stage, you'd kind of be thinking Nature Strip's probably going to be one of the hardest to beat, that's for sure.
Yep. We get to the 3-year-old fillies. A lot of these clashed a couple of weeks back. 1,200-meter Furious Stakes, a Group 2. Form moves ahead, tops the market again. I am happy to take it on. I think it might have shown itself up a little bit. I was a bit, as I said, a bit concerned about it first up. A bit concerned about the jockey booking, but I'm happy to back Jamia again here. It'll have some clear air. It's second up. It was very unlucky, unfortunately, the fall in front of it, or it clipped heels there just as trying to get through. But I think gate 10 suits, and if we can run on, this has got as good a turn of foot as anything in this race. And at the $12, I think it's a fantastic bet. And ultimately, Swift Witness won that race. So again, you're probably going to get $7 or $8, and I'm happy to back it as well. It's might be the horse that's improved off a bit of growth, and happy to take on the others in the market there. What do you make of it all?
Yeah, I've gone for She's All Class. I think it might be the hardest to beat resuming here. Has pushed 4 moves ahead here, but I just think it might come back a better horse than the other one. Certainly drawn much better, 4 moves ahead again. Got trapped wide first up, and that was telling in the run. I don't think it's going to sit 3 wide again and be able to win this race. So Nash is going to have to find a spot for it somewhere. I'm not quite sure where that'll be. I think She's All Class just might get the better run from the 6th gate, and with J Mac on board. And first up, 2 good.
Yeah, cool.
Jamia's, I think, main danger. I think like what you had to say about that, and luckless first up, so can run a good race again.
Excellent. The Tramway is the other feature on the day, the Group 2 over the 1,400 meters. This is a little bit of the same as the Nature Strip stuff. Does Zaaki already have horses running from it, or is there just no horses left in Sydney to take it on? Because this is a pretty, this is an ordinary field, and if it keeps I know it's resuming a bit shorter than what it has, but if it stays to the levels it went out in, it'll brain this lot.
Yeah, I can't believe it's $2 in this field.
When I looked at the prices, I thought it would be $1.60.
I think it looks as good a thing as Nature Strip.
Yes, I agree.
Actually, I think Nature Strip's race is probably slightly harder than this.
Yep.
Like, seriously, you've got horses here. I'm just looking: Dreamforce, All Saints Eve, Rock, Lions Roar, Star of the Seas. Like, they've won one or two races between them in the last 6 starts each. So 5 horses, 30 starts. And you've got a horse that's, that's breaking Cox Plate. Well, actually, if you go through this whole field here, only Lions Roar's got to win 4 starts back and Star of the Seas 5 starts back in their last 6 starts. Not any of them, half of them haven't even run a place.
Yep.
In some of those, like it's Dreamforce one placing, All Saints Eve hasn't run a place in the last 5 starts. Rocks finished 3rd in there. Lions Roar's 1-1. Star of the Seas 1-1. Prime Stars ran a place or 2. Shut the bar. I mean, these have got lots of zeros, 5, 6, 7s. Just can't believe $2.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, the only reason would be that it's never won at the distance, but it's a different horse. It would never have been set for this overseas, and for the 1400 metres, I should say, overseas. The only thing I can figure is it's already scared off the opponents. But maybe the more I think about it, maybe there are no opponents over the mile. Like, who's going to, who? I haven't looked at any futures markets. Who's going to challenge this as it heads towards a Doncaster and a Cox Plate? Probably all comes back up from and wins the Epsom again.
Yeah, until you see horses like Probably or Very Elegant, those types of horses could certainly challenge, but they seem to have dodged here and just gone a slightly different pathway, which each their own.
Yeah, so $2, good price, I think, in this case. Happy to back it.
Yeah, 100%.
And the other thing is there's a weight for age mile race in the same card, which maybe makes it tricky, but this might be the worst weight for age mile race I've seen in as long as I can remember too. What are you going to do here? We're talking of the Chelmsford race number 8.
Yes.
Well, I'll go first then. I end up looking down the bottom. I know Kukaracha got rolled at Hawkesbury, but it's Hawkesbury. Second up here, J-Mac going on. It's fresh blood, and onto Philia, I might back again, even though I've got to work on that. Away from that, at 50s, I can have something on Dashing Willoughby, who I mentioned last week, and trialled really well, and I think is a reasonable horse. First up for Waller for having an Australian prep, but I don't want to take $3 Cascadian, and maybe that leaves me to think it over, but I don't want to back anything else in this race, so I looked at the fresh blood. Am I on the right track? Is there a right track?
I don't know whether there is a right track here, mate. Very, very difficult. I kind of, without a whole heap of confidence, I come up with She's Ideal.
Okay.
I thought it was an outstanding first up run. Again, 1600s probably not the ideal distance here, and I'm a bit worried I don't know where the pace is going to come from to enable it to run on. But I thought it hit the line really well first up. Hopefully some natural improvement. What worries me with She's Ideal is has a habit of running second, third and fourth, and that's a bit of a concern, but I'm willing to go for She's Ideal. I think it could be hard to beat, but certainly Cascadian is hard to beat, but $3, you're right. That's a little bit skinny. And yeah, your Kukaracha's not without a chance.
Maybe She's Ideal's a bet, actually. Gate 1, what's probably 3 back the fence. And that's what's been beating it, is position running. But yeah, tricky race, which we might just move on from, actually. Race 9 is a 1200 meter benchmark 78. Is this any easier? Yes, it is, because I think King of Sparta at $5 is a very good bet. We talked about it last week. I love the way it chimed in, ran away, and owned the field. Would have been 3 weeks ago now, and I know it's a bigger field, but I don't think it's a necessarily stronger field. So if it gets the same, gate 19 is probably the reason it's $5, but as long as we can run on that, should be fine. Happy to take it, happy to back it each way, and that's about it. Geist, I would back it longer. Grand Rumor was a very nice debut and might need the run, but good luck to good man Steve Chester and his fellow connections there. Yeah, King of Sparta for me. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, same. I thought King of Sparta, we were all over last before it got scratched. Last run was outstanding. Had a sensational turn of foot here. Gate 19 is obviously the worry, but I think there's already been a couple of scratchings, so that'll bring it in a couple of barriers there. So, with any more scratchings, it might come into about gate 15 or something like that. So it might not be the worst in the world at $5. Thank you.
1,500 metre benchmark, 94 closes out the day at Royal Randwick, where I am going to stick with the two. We'll see how much the rain comes in, but it might not matter in this case. Yeah, the two that ran the Quinella last start, a Tissue and Matawakapi. They ran 1-2 last half pretty impressively. They'll probably run 1-2 here pretty impressively. Yeah, I don't think to add. I like it.
Yeah, the Tissue was good last start. I tipped the Tissue and very happy to see it get the chockies. I think it's going to be super hard to beat here. I really couldn't find too many dangers. I did tip again Cepheus last start, and I thought its first start fourth was good. Loomed up, probably condition just gave out. The extra distance here is in its favour. It could be the main danger, depending on where it gets to in the run. But a Tissue for me, I think it's just maybe a little bit more brilliant. And Cepheus to run on and continue to go through sort of its gears to where it needs to get to. It's probably looking for a bit further later on in the prep.
Yeah, cool. We forgot the Moonee Valley Quaddie, but we better do one at Sydney. Would you like the Sydney Quaddie or the Moonee Valley Quaddie to drive?
Take your pick, mate.
I'll do this one. Why not? I'll jump in. Let's go Zaaki one out. So first leg, Zaaki, number one. Second leg, 1 Think It Over, 2 Cascadian, 12 Cucaracha, 13 She's Ideal, 14 Montefilia. Second last will be 13 King of Sparta. And I will throw in, who's the one I had it on here? I'll throw 11 Geist in and 12 Grand Rumore, or Rumar, however they want to pronounce it. And we'll finish the day with 1 Entente at the price, 13 a Tissue, and my Manawatapi, who is, where is he? She's number 11. And Cepheus, if you're really keen, Beaver, we can throw it in too. So that should cover off our quaddie there. My best of the day at Randwick will be a Tissue in the last, actually. I'm pretty keen it'll run well. Obviously, staying away from the 2 shorties in the features. And my value on the day, let's make it Cucaracha. What are you doing? Your best in value for Progrit Racing?
Yeah, my best of the day is Zaaki at $2. I just think it's a good bet, and I think $2 is
fair enough.
Just too good not to take. And value, I've gone for race 9, number 13, King of Sparta. I know it's only about $5. Who knows? You might get better on the day, but I just think at that price, it's good value.
Yep, can't argue with that. Let's dack quickly back to Melbourne before we get roused on by some of our subscribers. And do you want to punch out the Moonee Valley Quaddie?
Yeah, happy to do so, mate. Let me see. In the first leg here, I'm going to go number 3, 4, 7, and 8.
Mm-hmm.
Into the second leg, I'm going to go number 2, number 7, number 14, and number 16.
Yeah, leaving Pintoff out.
Yep.
We'll move on.
Okay. Going to run the gauntlet there.
All right.
In race 8, I'm going to go numbers 3, 4, 11, and 14.
Very good.
And I'm going to finish the day with numbers 1, 2, 3, and 12.
Excellent. So there's our quaddy numbers, or the Beaver's quaddy numbers from Moonee Valley. What has the Beaver got up north?
Yeah, I've got a few up north for us here, Daggy. Race 2, number 8, Duchess Roth Say, currently around the $5 mark. Race 3, number 6, Adalisi, around the $3 mark. Then I think my next bet came up in race 5, number 1, La Palmiere, about $2.50.
Mm-hmm.
And then my last bet of the day up in Eagle Farm was in race 8, number 3, the QS, about $3.
Excellent. Good job, mate. Marathon session, but
No
we got through
problem.
it. Spring racing
We
is
did.
upon us. Enjoying it. Good luck this weekend. Stay safe, punters, and enjoy the races. And we'll be back Tuesday evening with the midweek preview. Take care, and we'll see you then.